Hello everyone and welcome back to a bit of modded Wano as we're going back into Star Wars as I tested this mod out a bit more in 1v1 and there is a tournament planned right now because the work in this mod is pretty solid at this point. So if you're interested, join the Discord. You can find a link down below for the mod and let them know that you're interested in joining the tournament. And yeah, what we have here is a bit of Empire versus Rebels action, with me playing the Rebel faction, which is a really light one. It has only infantry for the most part in some lighter armored transport, and quite a lot of that. A is relatively limited as well, but it is a mix of old Republic stormtroopers or like yeah, stormtroopers switching over to the rebels versus on the other side Imperial formation here coming in with Imperial troopers in these shuttles here flying in to get on top of the situation. We have fighters here shooting at our A-wing and nearly getting it shut down. And as I saw the amount of Imperial gunships here coming in, I lumped the shuttle with my stormtroopers that are my recon force here disappearing. We have some really nice light little vehicles with good cannons here that can move quickly into position to hold other spots on the map. So that's what we did up there, whilst our Sentinel Phalanx forces here, our Iron Strikers and co move into position to try to hold the base around the Bravo point. Maps are still not quite doable with new assets, so we still for now have to play on normal Wano maps, but looking forward to see the Star Wars maps in the future here as well, with new assets and all. X-Wings here getting some nice kills, and now also can start shooting down these Imperial gunship transports. The Lambda shuttle forced to fall back and gets shut down by them, but the X-Wings did do a good bit more damage here, starting to clear the sky a bit in my favor, plus also helping out with these bad boys. Delta being captured, Sentinel Phalanxes here in the A1P, moving forward to try to get into better spaces, putting down another gunship. Imperial troopers here, all set up. Relatively strong infantry, so my infantry has to be a bit more careful. I have a lot of cheap infantry, especially stuff like the trench guard infantry here, that is really spammable, but can't quite compete with what the other side has here, though infantry in general in this really cheap. And yeah, iron cannons here situated to shoot at any bigger ship flying by on both sides. Good amount of defenses here with shield generators on the other side as well. The rear, we have some more blood marks here flying around. Relatively strong fighters with a good amount of cannons, 8 torpedoes. But this is the best of my AA, which is relatively limited. Doesn't have the best of ranges, does have shield, so that's helpful, but range, as you can see here, pretty limited, so really only point defense. Can be pretty good against the Imperial gunship transports, and that's what we just had happening here. Two of them shooting down the Imperial transports coming in there. As I tried to get into this position here, try to capture that, and get a take online. My Sovereign Strike Commandos here, getting back into their transport, moving up to capture the Foxtrot point to keep the take equal for now. Then, yeah, sending in more forces. French Guard infantry moving around as well.
We've captured a command post.
We have a Sentinel moving around here. Wing, like the little, pretty helpful recon unit that can shoot down enemies as well. Can't be used as a transport too. Up to no, it can load up to 2 ground units. It's pretty decent at dealing with the gunships. So the gunships versus our ultralight assault vehicles here. That is a different story. And as you can see now, lasers are blue, so game is looking better in the UX here. And in the effects and the special effects here a bit as well. Gunships get closer. The T2Bs
We've captured
moving
a
into
command
position to
post.
try to help out. As the first one gets shut down. Ion Strikers are basically our manpads teams. Trying to shoot these guys down as well. And they deal good damage, so the Imperial gunships here having a bad day. And they are pretty expensive. They are much more expensive than the infantry inside, so shooting them down is pretty helpful. Well, trying to hold down to the north. Imperial troopers, they're moving forward. Well, more Imperial units been over here. Gunship transport still standing in the way of things. French guards try to get a corner into the alpha point. Ultralight assault vehicle moving in again, as they were pretty good at holding the edges of things. And with their good optics, they can also be pretty helpful. And as you can see, they are really, really fast. So that is pretty helpful. Imperial troopers getting into the engagement here as well. Trying to shoot at the wing. But no, my A1P, which are my basic transports here, finally getting involved. Opening up the fire. X-Wings versus Blood Marks. X-Wings start better off this time. They get decent damage onto the enemy. With low cohesion on both sides here though. They still manage to get the kill on the close range. X-Wings going home, but this is important. Winning the air battles. So that the gunships can't fly around as much anymore. And another gunship gets shut down over here. One X-Wing gets shut down on the way out. More blood marks do arrive. The AA-1Ps, one of them getting shut down. They are relatively expensive, 115, but they also are pretty potent at dealing damage to the enemy. Blood marks coming in again. And barely surviving there, the one that got damaged, as the T2Ps just okay on the short range. So that's a bit of the issue. Good amount of infantry here now arriving around this part of the map. Sentinel phalanx holding the building, fighting off both sides using thermal detonators on the short range fights there. And they do win the fight thanks to the building cover. Wing flying around. Infantry moving in here. Try to deal with the entrenched Imperial forces, but the Imperial shock forces here are superior to the just baseline infantry with a couple of blasters, some light missiles here. Blasters themselves not the most amazing either. These guys also resolute, so they do compete a good bit better. Leader starts to move in though. Fire support from a bit further away is around as well. These small AA-5s coming around with a little anti-personnel turret in the front as well. Can help out a bit. Going flying around, and here comes my attempt on trying to get a bit of extra firepower into these fights with an assault frigate Mark 1 flying in and starting to deal out some damage against the enemy Imperial troopers. Dealing good damage there. But enemy brings out some torpedo uh, units and they start to go ahead and damage my poor little assault frigate. Dealing out decent damage. That wasn't the best investment. It's relatively affordable capital ship, but it is still a capital ship. And I should have brought around more X-Wings to protect it here in this situation. Instead, yeah, goes down. Did deal a bit of damage here against the infantry, but that's obviously not worthwhile. So that was a bit of a blunder by me. The enemy Civ Singe repulse emitter here, also really dangerous. Decent bit of AA with a good amount of range. But my troops here try to deal with the enemy defenses. The enemy Imperial gunships now rotating around. But I get some mortars into the center. We have the foothold here that gets the +1 going right now. Getting myself up back into the game here with the take. But the enemy blood marks here flying around. Imperial gunship transports relatively well armed here with quite a lot of turrets. A lot of guns there coming around, and yeah, the remains of my capital ship here crashing into the hillside. Gunships come around, opening up fire. X-Wing tries to intercept, but there are the enemy blood marks here in good number out now. So the X-Wing is in trouble. The A-Wing is assisting. It does have the electronic warfare tool, so you want to have an A-Wing with your X-Wings in these battles, but it's now a bit too far away to really help out. The engagement here doesn't go so well. My AA is trying to help out. We get another Bloodwing down. We get another one nearly down. A-Wing tries to go in for the kill, but it is relatively low, and the AA of the enemy does get them. X-Wings also not able to get the gunships because they land in time here. Getting out of the air so that the X-Wing can't see them anymore. Well, the +2 is happening now as this enemy leader here got destroyed, so that is a good thing. That is really helpful. +2 gets us ahead of the enemy in a decent rate. The air fight didn't go so well here, or the space fight. So our X-Wing pilot here has to get the hell out of there. Well, we get some mortar teams out now to get around and help out with the town fight, because as I pointed out earlier, infantry on infantry wise, we're a bit outclassed. So getting a bit of assistance with some fire support that can stun down the enemy, that can deal decent damage to the enemy, could be pretty helpful. Land strikers moving around. They have decent ranges with their skyfires, but they don't deal a lot of damage. So they are mostly there as assistance. And new Imperial platoon coming in. The leader here, a really big squad, 27 men inside. Oh, yeah, as they touch it down, it will get into business. But the enemy is trying to be really annoying now with the Imperial gunships here coming around. I try to get back onto the Charlie point. Commander here that sitting around got that I tried to bring around to Charlie earlier. The wing here now coming around to figure this out. And yeah, the first Warden Ranger just running in there and going down. And my light transports here just being gunned down as well. So this is a lot of points lost. P2B on a 1 versus 6 situation on these ranges wouldn't do all that well either. Can outrange the enemies, but not if the line of sight is like this. And so the enemy really chose this ground right now between the hills quite well, but the X-Wing coming in gets the first one shot down. And now the U-Wings can assist. X-Wing can come around again. Try to hunt these guys down. U-Wings will follow to keep the line of sight. And there we go. Another one shut down. So the X-Wing already paid off for itself. So even if it would get shut down, that would be kind of okay right now. There are a good couple of blood marks now on the way. Availability in this mod is really high on stuff like the X-Wings. So you can be a bit more wasteful with them as an individual unit. Obviously, point-wise, you still want to be efficient. But yeah, X-Wings here coming around in numbers. Will move in to try to get the kills here, as they are getting after my mortars. We have enough AA there to shoot these guys down, so not the biggest problem. The repulse emitter pushing us back here once more. We lost the mortars, that is annoying, because I just tried to get on top of this situation here, but in the end, still a fair trade for us, because mortars are pretty cheap. Plus, dealing with those transport ships, which are one of the best aggressive units of the enemy here. As with the infantry, we can deal with our lighter transports. They don't have that many vehicles of their own. They have a couple of Civ infantry assault tanks here now, moving around. But the defenses here, outside of that, doing okay. T2Bs here once more called into action as the Imperial gunship transports do their job, but that is really annoying. Clearing out everything up in the north, allowing all the infantry now to move in. T2Bs do a decent job, but the gunships still get in, still get both killed. X-Wing here now called into action. Fails to get on target, but in the end still gets it there. Blood marks coming around. The repulse emitter is annoying as well. And the enemy CV pushing onto the point. 300 points ahead on this map is pretty decent. Mortar teams coming around. The enemy units here in the south not looking all that hot right now. So U-Wings and infantry may be able to deal with that. T2Bs moving with all of this as assistance, whilst we have more gunships here flying in. We have more repulse emitters coming around as well. They are surprisingly cheap for how annoyingly good they are against us. Only 80 points there. Whilst we have more Iron Strikers moving towards the front line here as well. And a lot of blood marks flying around in the skies, trying to get the better out of us. French Guard infantry advancing towards the Imperial shock troopers. Have a good couple of Iron Strikers as AA against all the blood marks and against all the gunships. Imperial shock troopers here trying to get the south. Mortars moving in to try to help out with the situation over here. A lot more units coming in. A new CV is needed for the south now, as the blood marks come in numbers. Trying to deal and dealing with the U-Wings. X-Wings not quite in position to help out. The T2Bs, they're doing a decent job, but with the repulsor emitters, the X-Wings are in trouble. There are way more blood marks. 3 versus 6, so this engagement doesn't start off well. Blood marks get behind the X-Wings. Wings trying their best to get out of dodge there, but it's not really working out. Blood mark does win the fight and then can be helping out as a strafing unit on the ground as well. The other one here nearly going down, but not quite, and that's really the issue with my formation here in this, the lack of long-range AA, as otherwise these fights would be a good bit easier. But it's a really light formation, and supposed to be played around a lot of infantry spam with a lot of light support there. and then decent amount of light air spacecraft and good recon formation that can take ground early on. But I messed up the start in the south a bit, so this situation currently not perfect. The enemy is not the heaviest formation either, but Imperial gunship transports with good infantry inside. That's quite annoying. Like that combo alone is quite frustrating. We have a decent amount of anti-air here now with a lot of iron strikers that immediately go to town here against the enemy. We have the T2Bs here now as well, so this matchup that should be okay. We have a good amount of mortars now coming in again, starting to deal damage here in the center. The enemy's Imperial gunship, Imperial dropship transports here coming around again and get shut down. All of them shut down. A lot of infantry moving forward, but we have a decent amount of AA5s here now moving around that can assist in dealing with this. We have a good amount of infantry coming around. The iron strikers obviously more focused on assisting than actually getting into the combat. Mortars here trying their best. Find the enemy. Not dealing the most of damage, but they are really cheap, so that is kind of fine as well. Finally, the leader is coming in to try to take control over this part of the map here. A lot more iron strikers coming in. Two wing flying in as well, as the enemy brings a lot of infantry here. Imperial troopers, some little gliders, a good couple more gunship transports. Mortars trying to assist now, trying to deal with the enemy leader here, the enemy infantry. At least pinning them down, that the other infantry units here have a better time at dealing with this. And maybe even getting some kills. Accuracy is not perfect, but I'm, as you can see, starting to pin them down, forcing them out a bit as well. Get the first stun online there. The wing figuring out better angle here. There we go. Getting on target. Moving forward, a lot more infantry, more iron strikers moving in. First, and shooting the guys up as well. The A1Ps. Support units with Detroit in the front. Trying to assist. Pulse emitters on the fire. Another gunship transport. We have a lot of iron strikers. We have two T2Bs here still, so that should be something that can be dealt with. First one immediately gets shut down. The others run into iron strikers as well. T2B stuns down the last one. They get the A1P. They go down afterwards. That's still annoying, but it is okay. Y-Wing here now, coming in, dropping its bombs. That it goes right after the enemy afterwards was not planned, and there is enough AA here now. Guy Sunderer has the big AA here in the rear to not be easily pushing in there. Imperial Assault Trooper goes down as well. Keeps the tick away. Keeps me in the lead. As they killed off my leader there, unfortunately, as well. New one is being brought up. Imperial Heavy Shock moving around, getting annihilated. The rotary blaster is going down, and all the enemy that's here cleared up. The repulse emitter still being alive is annoying, as that is quite scary for the X-Wings. But infantry here now can move forward. AA5s helping out, stunning down enemies. not dealing a lot of damage, but the stun damage is helpful enough that the rest of the infantry potentially can get into decent defensive positions and then maybe start dealing with this. You can see really the damage output is negligible, and the enemy has a decent amount of light AT there as well. Silo immediately falling. Is all AA5s here coming around, but they're pretty affordable little distance, so this is fine. The repulse emitter slowly getting shut up. Mortars coming into all of this as well, but there comes the Harrower, and this is a big problem. Really solid destroyer here coming around and starting to clear up on the ground. Gets decent amount of damage onto all of my units there. The torpedo bomber gets in, but gets shut down there on the long range by the enemy defensive missiles here. First torpedo bomber got a decent amount of damage in, but not quite as much as I wanted and didn't get out. And at the same time, everything here on the ground got cleared up. So that's a big issue. I have brought around the Warhound, which is a CV and a supply unit at the same time, because I just wanted to bring around good defenses there. But this is the moment where good long-range ground A would be really helpful. The only one I have is the ion cannon, and the Harrower is pretty good at spotting stuff, so it actually sees the ion cannon here when it fires at it. The next two Y-Wings with torpedoes trying to come around and trying to get some damage in. We have the T2Bs here trying their best as well. Damage is a bit higher now, but it still has good amount of hit points here, starting at 170. Though the torpedoes do 8 damage per hit, it still takes quite a lot of hits there to get the kill, and they are forced to fall back right now. Imperial troopers in the set over here, still in there. The leader tries to get in here, or the Harrower has turned around. Two more torpedo units coming around, trying to help out. But with this thing clearing up
We've captured a
all across
command
the
post.
board, the torpedoes need to be faster. We have it under half-life. X-Wing
We've
trying
captured
to
a
be
command
around to
post.
help with the blood mark, but there is a good amount of enemy AA on the ground. And yeah, the Harrower is taking some damage, but it is still there. And the Y-Wings getting a bit close. Enemy AA able to fire on them. Harrower still has a couple of missiles as well, and it is getting the CV here on the ground killed. Is pushing further and currently just shooting up everything on the ground. And it has still ammo for days. So won't stop, and as you can see, it already has decimated my ground forces by a lot without going down, and that's a really big problem, as I have no way of protecting any space against it. So I would have had needed more strike aircraft at this point to try to deal with it. I only have one card of torpedo Y-Wings in my deck at this point, so that for sure is a mistake. And the Harrower is just eating me alive here at this point, so yeah, my little Y-Wing trying its best to deal with the enemy, but is not quite doing it here. We have it at 1/4 of its life, but we can't quite kill it. And at
We've
this point, I
captured a
have to
command
wait a
post.
long time for my Y-Wings to reload. They take a good couple of minutes to reload all 10 torpedoes, so the Harrower can just go ham for the next couple of minutes without me being able to do anything about it. So at this point, the game is GG. Enemy can just move in, and already is on a +2. So there we go. GGVP here. And the Doom Mercenary got me there with the Harrower. And yep, the game is really fun with this mod. There are a lot of divisions now, a lot of different cool units, a couple of really cool, nice mechanics, and the hero units and so on, like General Grievous, all working out quite well. The space battles are pretty fun as well. One thing I would like to see is a bit of an more interaction there with anti-torpedo ships and so on, so that uh, the interaction between torpedo and big ships isn't as uh, basic as it currently is. But in general, really, really fun battles all around already. And yeah, it's fun in 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, and up to 10v10. The 10v10 is a bit of a mess, but in a quite fun way. Things just die a lot more than in normal 1 so that's quite interesting. And yeah, am really surprised how well this plays in 1v1, and that you still get out the big ships out and so on, and they have an impact. And but obviously it's a way there, and it's not all about the big ships. Like the enemy had to save up quite a couple of points to afford this. And if I would have had a bit better vision composition set up to deal with stuff like this, then I could have dealt with it as well. So yeah, GGVP here, and hope to see you all in the next one, as we will cover more Wano modded stuff over the next couple of days again, and also continue with some lovely deck deep dives and co. So see you all around.